Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to review this new tool that is called the Dify, Dify.ai. So right here, as you can see, this is a Dify website, and I'm going to introduce these tools today. Basically, Dify is the orchestration of the LLM application. So you can think of it as the generative AI, for example, ChatGPT, Gemini model. But then you can actually make an application with those LLM tools. And the reason that the Dify is becoming more popular is this is open source tool, and also this is sort of the end-to-end. I think it's the first end-to-end LLM tools out there in the market. So I can actually prove that. So let's go to GitHub, and if you type in the GitHub LLM, you can actually check what's the most starts application in the recent time. Excuse me. There's an application that is well-known contributor for all, but then it comes around the 4 or 5 the Dify. So this is quite a popular application, I'd say. I think it was at least, yeah, so the 54K stars. That is not bad for the new application. And yeah, so you can check out the website, but it's quite I don't say hyped, but it's quite well known for the community right now. So I just want to put my personal viewpoint. It's not an objective point of view, but it's more like a subject, very subjective. But as an engineer who have been working on the ML ops, machine learning for a couple of years, and master degree in data science, I like to add some of my viewpoint. So it's quite simple to install this Dify itself. You can think of it as just a microservice runnable in your local deployment. So as is the most of the use case, you can deploy this in the Docker. So yeah, so the self-deployment is quite simple, that you simply download this repository and then install the Docker, and then it'll just go to the this repository and spin up your Docker with the compose file, and it runs the multiple containers in your local file, local system, and every single containers functions as the microservice individual component. So as you can see, the database, backend, engines, and delivers proxy and stuff like that. Sorry, the proxy server and worker, and after that you can run in the local host. So in your 127.0.0.1 local environment. So actually, let's look at that. I'm just gonna go to the my terminal, and to know that I've already installed this Dify itself for back a couple time ago. So my environment is already up. So I'm just gonna show you what's exactly like. So this is my terminal, and then you can check the Docker Compose PS. Okay, so let's go to the Docker, and then Docker Compose PS. So these are the Docker files that in the Dify to have it, and well, you can see the services and every port and stuff like that, and then just follow the instruction, and you can spin up this environment right away. And once you spin up if you are installed the Docker, you can check your Docker desktop application, and it's installed. It's quite simple and intuitive, and there is not much to comment on this side. And once you spin up that, you can go to the Dify, so the local host, and install. And this allows you to start your sign in and also new user installation. So you will register, and then you will receive the email as a registration. Once you complete it, now you can log into your Dify console, And this is a console that you will see in your DeFi application. Well, it's a quite functional. You can see a lot of the features going around, and at the first, something that you notice is Explorer and Studio looks like one of the main feature here, and so the Explorer is basically the template file that the already DeFi has some of the pre-made the template file which you can launch. Basically, which the concept to add to the workspace, and the workspace is your own environment, so your own the local host environment where you can do any sort of stuff. Well, technically that's classified agent, assist, HR programming, workflow, and writing. But yeah, like essentially that's the subcategory is more important because this is what defines the console that you are going to see. So for example, if this is the agent, well, this is well familiar with the most of us. You have the instruction and the variables and all the tools. So this is like external tools, and then what are the internal vision and so on. So this is just some engineering, and you can configure the agent setting and the token and so on. And I like to feature the workflow here. I think this is quite distinctive in the way that it allows you to create the this type of the canvas. So if you're familiar with some tools such as Dataiku or Kubeflow, MLflow, ZenML, those are the orchestration tools, and this is one of those orchestration, but this time it's for the LLM, so which is more like LLM ops instead of the ML ops that is previously prevailed in the industry that uses the such as Kubeflow tools. The major difference here is that LLM tools is obviously using the LLM, so the large language model is the main component of this architecture. And I think the best way to get to know is just touch around. So like you can put a stuff. So this is all predefined, but you can add a block and then choose your logic and transform and so on, LLM and tools. So this is basically the external connectors, so most of the search tools and code interpreter and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen this kind of tools a lot of times, and it's no surprise that this tool is also incorporating all those functionality. And the LLM can also set those kind of features, and it's more like a visually configurable, and you can also do some of the process to make the flow in your workflow, literally. So, well, it's a feature bit, but once you configure that, you can turn it on and then like type whatever script. I'm not sure if this is gonna work out, to be honest, for the first, but I can just go test, and well, you can see this goes like this type of different trees, and then I move on to the input and the result and details. And also nice thing is that it has a tracing, so you can check each component input and output, so you can debug easily. And once you test it out, let's say this is more development tools, you can also publish, and then publish, and once you publish, it can be line up. You can do the batch, and you can in the Explorer, and also you can sometimes create the chat. If it's the chatbot, you can make the chatbot link, so you can incorporate it in your website. So that's the tools on the fly. And well, there are the documents and the log and so on, and those also monitors, and each backend also the service has the API, so you can also call the with the API, less API, Python, and I think it was Node.js or something like that. You can also use external API to call it. It's quite thorough. I'm impressed that this kind of tool exists already, and if you look at the repositories, you can see that a lot of already communities going on, a lot of contributions going on. I think it's generally the very well known tools in the industry. And now I'd like to add my personal opinion on this tool. So I was using this tool for a couple of times and a couple of days, and my personal point of view, I think this tool is generally great to start the LLM, especially if you aren't that familiar. It is probably the easiest way to start to get to know how the LLM works in the more viable product level. So instead of just typing your LLM console, you can create your flow. So do the actual processing in this Dify console. And the good thing is that there is no vendor lock-in. It's the open source tools. You can deploy it on your own computer. For example, my computer M1 MacBook Pro, and everything runs pretty smoothly, and I have no trouble whatsoever. Docker container is perfectly healthy, and you can have all the visibility and so on. So that's one thing. And another good thing is it has really a lot of features. So of course, apart from what I mentioned, there is a knowledge part that is basically the retrieval augmented generation, the lag. It's also quite popular tools in the industry. You can sync from the website, so you can use like a Gina reader or some kind of web crawl technology and make your knowledge database. And if you look at the Docker container, that is basically will be stored in your I think it's either Redis container, most likely the Postgre. Well, if it's a vector database, I would say it's a Redis, but probably they use the Postgre, whichever it is. But yeah, the database it will be stored in your local container. So yeah, well, you see the tools, and there are quite a lot of things can go on. So seemingly very nice, a lot of functions and so on. So that's the pros. And from here, my personal cons after using these tools. The first of all, when actually trying to use these tools, let's say the workflow, and you can of course create from the blank and then the workflow, and let's say and test one. Okay, you can start and then like start writing. Okay, this is code, and then like this is now LLM, and then it's nice that you can connect. But then you start using it, so there's input variables and like code and output and so on. But what you realize is that there are a lot of the learning parts. So not only just work on the fly, you have to understand there are key way to use it, like let's say input variables. Then if it's put the input variables, then can I use it as input here? Not as intuitive as it seems. You have to actually find a way to pass your output variable. Let's say if it's here result, then you have to make it yourself, so it's not automatically inferred in your previous step or your side of work. I don't know the component. But you have to manually adjust every single component. And again, there are a lot of small glitches that if you actually use a low Python, you return some result, but then based on your argument, the some keys used in the Python dictionary change. That actually happened to me, and it took quite a time just to connect from the code logic to the LLM. I believe this is just one case, but there are a lot of similar cases out there. I suppose, given that the tool is relatively new and it's still ongoing. And let's say once you finish this connection and then run it, and okay, let's complete it. The natural way for me to think is, okay, I'm gonna store this result in some database. But then you start looking at, okay, so where database or the end result I can store Excel was, there is nowhere that I can find it to store my final result. So it's kind of like you can learn this workflow and get some kind of insight, but there's like no way to store this information for persistency. Um, so if you actually look at in the user perspective, it allows you to make some cool connections and do logic, but then like actual result isn't quite direct for now. So how to reply, how to share the result? Well, okay, so you can publish it, but then that's like a limited running application, and even if you run application, it's like there's not much scheduling going on. Okay, you wanna integrate in your website, okay, but then you start thinking about what's the security. Well, the security is great, but is it really compatible with your own environment and stuff like that? So the point I want to make here is that the DeFi is very diverse functional tools, and because of that pros, it also casts a shadow on the individual excellence. So it can do the literal augmented generation, it can do the chatbot, it can do the agent interaction, but then how do you actually gonna incorporate this in your own company? And that probably where the friction comes if you're working in the enterprise. And let's say you introduce it to your technical managers or the CTO level people. How do you convince your C executive to use this tool as a reliable production environment? I think that's something DeFi team are going to work on it, and I believe they are working very hardly, very hard, and I see that a lot of new features coming in. Um, so for my personal point of view as a previous ML engineer, well, the ML engineer, there I think a lot of things that has to be considered in terms of the production ready system. And well, as myself also consider building that kind of N2ML tools, I think I do understand a lot of obstacles and the difficulty to overcome this type of situation. Personally, I think this DeFi can also probably focus on the specific use case instead of incorporating everything, because at the end of the day, the maintenance. This is what I learned from previous cloud provider experience, that at the end of the day, you will build up a lot of technical debt and a lot of customer feedback, and eventually, if you have this kind of end-to-end tools, you're just gonna have a lot of technical debt, and as long as the tool not working, that there is less and less users, and that's a reality. So I think the best way from here for the DeFi is to focus on whatever the workflow agent, chatbot tools, something that really in the fundamental level to have um, these production related tools, and it just works without brain, no brainer. And I think once it reaches point, a lot of people start liking it more. Even the new users can come in and play the tools without leading document, going through a lot of things. Because at the end of the day, I think most intuitive tools are loved by the user. That is what I've seen. The ChatGPT, Perplexity, a lot of things are very user friendly and incorporating user feedback. I think that's the iterative step that improved model quality in the end. So yeah, well, this is my personal point of view of the DeFi tools, and I think it's quite great. And personally, I'm a little hesitant to use it in the maybe the production yet, but I believe that a lot of people start noticing this tool, so a lot of contribution coming. And I hope you guys also find this DeFi meaningful, and also my video useful for you. And if you're interested, please feel free to use it and contribute it to the tools, because it's generally good for anyone who are working on the tool or the large language model application. And I hope this industry goes forward and bring a lot of positive to our life in the long run. And I'm really excited to see what these DeFi tools will do in the future. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you next time.